Netflix's original anime are usually straight trash. However, if there's one thing I have to give them credit for, is that their animated adaptations of games are amazing. Arcane is a fantastic adaptation of League of Legends that has me and all of my friends waiting for more. The same is definitely true of Cyberpunk, which actually surpassed the terrible game that it's based on. So with that in mind, let's take a look at 5 games that Netflix needs to adapt as soon as possible. Number 5, Assassin's Creed series. The Assassin's Creed series depicts a fictional millennial-old struggle between the assassins, who fight for peace and free will, and the Templars, who desire peace through order and control. There's tons of lore that they can use, there's multiple installments of the game, and it already has a large and well-defined fan base. Marketing this would be easy because, like I said, there's already a massive fan base. This is one of the biggest games in the world. When it comes to the storylines, different than something like Cyberpunk where everyone hated the storyline, there's already storylines built in that people like. I think the biggest thing will be whatever animation style they choose. To be honest, I think the best thing for them to do is actually to stick to an animation style similar to that of Arcane. As long as they don't use something that's fully CGI, kind of like the Berserk remake that was terrible, I think they'll pretty much be fine. But like I said, it's got to be crisp. Next is the voice acting. They have to hit on the voice acting. I think one of the biggest hit and miss things that all the Netflix shows have is sometimes the voice acting is excellent, like in Cyberpunk, and other times the voice acting is terrible, like in Yasuke. Either way, I think done with even the minimum bit of attention, actually I won't say minimum bit of attention, done with a good attention to detail and properly, this could be a huge show for them. I think something that might not get into the top 10, but definitely would be up there with Arcane. Number 4, The Division. Now this is a personal favorite game of mine. It's set in the near future in New York City in the aftermath of a viral pandemic. Sorry to say that word. The player, a special agent of the Strategic Homeland Division, is tasked with helping the group rebuild its operations in Manhattan. Your character is tasked with investigating the nature of the outbreak, and you must combat any criminal activity that comes upon you. Now, this might not be on the minds of many people, but as someone that's played the game, I actually think the storyline fits really well to a wider audience. It's pretty gripping, honestly. I think the idea of, let's just say, maybe a ragtag group of, uprisers coming up and taking back the city would be amazing. There's easy tie-ins here to the US, with New York being the setting. New York is extremely relatable when it comes to a location site. Everybody gets it. It's one of the biggest cities in the world. When it comes to animation style, I actually think a 2D style would be perfect for this. Something similar actually to Cyberpunk. This is a dystopian future, and I think there are some similarities. Granted, I don't know if it's as crazy as Cyberpunk, but for example, some of the factions in the game, there's some similarities there. I can see it very easily working. It might not have the fanfare of the other games on the list, but like I said earlier, the storyline is gripping, and I think with the right type of just team around this could really hit. Number 3, Call of Duty. Okay, so this is an easy one. Call of Duty is one of the biggest games of the world, if not the biggest game in the world. To be honest, the show could even kind of be trash, but if the trailer is good, the hype would be insane for this. Obviously, I don't want that to happen. To be completely honest and candid, if you're at Netflix right now and this isn't on the production list for some type of upcoming season or whatnot, what are you doing? This is an easy slam dunk. Take any of the campaign modes and it would be a success. They just need to nail the animation. Honestly, just do whatever they want on that. Just make sure it looks good and make sure it sounds good as well. The voice actors. I know I sound like a broken record, but a terrible voice cast can ruin a show. This could be a layup for Netflix, and I do mean an absolutely easy layup. Come on, it's COD. It's not that difficult. Number 2, Saints Row. Alright, now listen. Most of you are probably saying, what do you mean? Why aren't you saying GTA? And I will be the first to admit that yes, Grand Theft Auto has a bigger fan base and would be far easier to market. It's probably also easier to make if I'm being honest, but hear me out. Saints Row is kind of the best of both worlds. Okay, so for first of all, Saints Row does have a large fan base of its own, and marketing, while not as easy as it would be for GTA, it certainly wouldn't be impossible, or honestly not all that difficult. More importantly, the crazy ass storyline of Saints Row would be amazing to see animated. Now, I definitely think in the later seasons of the show, creators should take some liberties and make some changes to the story. In the games, the story gets a bit too crazy at certain points in the future installments. I'll be honest, they really drifted far off from the initial, gang warfare of the regular streets they were at in the beginning. But like I said before, some of that craziness is going to be good. It is even better when it's animated. To be honest, that's what's beautiful about animation in the first place, is that you can do things that look crazy and it's awesome. If we're being real here, let's look at anime. Most of the stuff there is kind of ridiculous, but because it's animated, it looks cool as hell and it's hype. The storyline creators, they could even do a 180 on this. Let's say instead of going the crazy route, you can stick to maybe the first game where things were more grounded and based in reality. And if they don't even want to do that, then hell, you can skip all the way to the later installments of the game and you can just get crazy off the rip. To be honest, I think either way would work. And you know what? Even if they just wanted to go in a straight line order from game 1 to the newest installment, I think that works too. That's kind of why I put this ahead of GTA. There's just more options that you can do and just more possibilities with the storyline. Number 1, God of War. The slam dunk easiest pick for this list was God of War. A massive fan base with multiple games, great storylines that are already built, which people love. It features mythology, which already on its own has a large fan base and gets people interested. With the release of the new game, Netflix should hop on this as soon as possible. This would easily be in their top 10 in the United States and probably worldwide. Its popularity would quickly surpass that of Arcane and Cyberpunk. Listen, all you have to do is get the voice right actor, especially for Kratos. This may go without saying, but this show needs 3 things to succeed. First, the voice actor for Kratos has to be, and I cannot stress this enough, they have to be amazing. Average will not do. People will complain endlessly about this show if there's just some average voice actor who's phoning it in. For example, let's use Lakeith Stanfield again when he kind of phoned in his performance for Yasuke and it basically ruined most of the show. Great actor, but terrible performance. Whoever they get, I don't care if it's a big name or a little name, they've got to sound like Kratos. To be honest, it would be smart for them to just use the voice actor from the game and just be safe and sound with it. There's no reason to F that up. It's too important. Second, the animation needs to be some of their best, and frankly, I think it needs to be their best. I think the hype for this would be off the charts. Kratos is one of the most popular characters in gaming history. God of War is one of the most popular games. They put a banger out every single time. Their last game was a masterpiece. I'm pretty sure Ragnarok is also going to be a masterpiece. Whatever animation style they choose, it just has to be crisp and it has to look good, because this thing is going to be shared all over the world, all over the internet. And when people see this, they have to say, wow. Not just, that looks decent. It has to be, wow. Last, but certainly not least, the fights. The fights have to be amazing. They've already shown in Cyberpunk and in Arcane that they can do great fights, and in Cyberpunk especially, they can do gore. So they should not abandon that now. The fights are going to be the largest reason that people watch this show, so they got to be top tier. Don't skip out on the animation budget, don't skip out on the fight budgets. For example, if Kratos is going to cut somebody's head off and wear it as a belt, let it happen. That's why people are watching in the first place. It's not like people see God of War as some G-rated show, so let it be hard R. If they can nail those 3 things, then I think they have one of their biggest hits in years on their hand. Alright guys, that is my video. These are 5 games that I think Netflix needs to turn into an adaptation immediately. Are there any other games that you can see out there that you think they should do? I know there's a long list of them. There are a couple that I really thought about putting, but I wasn't sure on. I'd love to hear down in the comments what you think. If you'd be cool enough to give me a like, share, and a subscribe. Just to end this video, all I can say is thank you for watching and have a blessed afternoon.